William Shakespeare said true hope is swift and flies with swallows' wings. Kings it makes gods, and meaner creatures kings. Well, hope is a funny thing. It shines brightest in the darkest moments of our lives. It can be brought on by loss, by pain, by memories. But wherever and whenever it appears, hope looks forwards, not backwards. It looks up, not down. Hope promises a future better than the present. That is what hope does best. Hope breeds hope. Oh, hello. This is Dirty 20 Gaming. My name is Kevin, and these wonderful people have agreed to come and play a game with me, and it all worked out, and scheduling and shit finally happened. So we're here. Quick, before anything goes wrong, the wonderful people are starting with Robin Thunderscape 7.
Hi, I'm Thunderscape7 or Robin. I sometimes do art, but mostly I've just been kind of treading water, keeping my head above, keeping afloat. But otherwise, I just hang out on the Discord or in chat sometimes if I can make it.
Excellent. Just go around the table. Bison underscore Stonefist.
That's me.
That's you.
I'm here a lot. I'm here 4 nights a week when, all things willing.
Bonus
On
night
Monday
last
night. Yeah. And just special appearance from yesterday. On Mondays, I play Jack Aldridge. I'm trying to remember what day of the week it is. Wow. On our Buffy the Vampire Slayer RPG game, Grave New World. On Tuesdays, I run.
You're all about to die. Definitely not a cop. Sorry, Tuesdays.
Yeah, definitely not a cop. On Tuesday nights, I run Carnage Heights, our cyberpunk red adventure. That's getting very, very complicated to run, and that's mostly my fault.
That's where we're all gonna die.
Yeah,
and then
and on Thursdays, I play Encino, the Dragonborn Paladin, in our Dungeons and Dragons 5e adventure called King's Pyrite. It is based off of the Fool's Gold campaign by Dingo Doodles, who you can find on YouTube. She's awesome.
That one,
we're probably all going to die.
Everybody's going to die.
We're probably all going to die now, because nobody has any sense of self-preservation.
Nope.
Except for me.
Maybe badges.
Yeah. the survival paladin. Yes. And the druid. No,
grumpy old
everyone
man.
Else is
grumpy old man is a survival technique.
Yeah. And then Saturday is tonight. Congratulations, you figured it out. Yeah, that's me.
All right. Moving on. Wayward Knight. I don't know why you got an intro, but you did, so there you go.
Lovely.
I'll fire the band, by the way. It was hideous. But they're all going to die. Let's finish the joke. There we go. We went all the way around with the somebody's going to die joke. Tell us about yourself.
I'm Wayward Knight, also known as Chris. I am an artist and other things on the internet. You can find me at all these places. If you like my work, feel free to check it out and maybe even purchase it. Support your small and local artist friends. Yeah. I play Delilah Stillwater tonight here on Saturdays. I also run the Buffy the Vampire Slayer TTRPG Grave New World on Mondays. And come join our Discord.
Yes.
It's fun. I live there.
Yeah. Speaking of the Discord, yes, please do. It is an incredibly supportive place. Everybody is welcome. And if you want to get into one of these games, let us know. We'll figure it out. I don't know when, but we're doing 5 nights a week now, but stuff's coming. So, yeah, you want to play, we'll get you in the game. You want to run a game, we'll get you in the spot. But speaking of this spot, virtual tabletop of choice is Roll20. Art is from Pixabay. Character art is from Hero Forge. The rest of it's us. Let's go. The three of you and our friendly neighborhood Allegra were last seen fleeing the scene. No, leave it. Yeah, fleeing the scene. I'm sticking with it. It's a valid statement of a art terrorism accompanied by musical cannonades and broken ribs and a lot of drinking. I just wanted to include everybody. Yes. But we left the city at the end of the last episode, and we ended up somewhere. I know when we left the other city, we ended up on the bridge. This one, I gave you. There was a vision at the end. It's been like so long. My beard is visibly longer than it was when we filmed the last episode. But what was it? Oh, I remember. I think, and if I don't, I remember. I'm remembering in reverse, and that's remembering. Here, as you leave the madness behind you, because it's literally coming apart. You crest a little valley ridge, and you see ahead of you. I think this is what we did. Rock walls, but they're not like fancy mortar rock walls. They're old school field boundaries where you just take the rocks off the field and make walls so that the plow doesn't break. Yeah. It's actually ridge and furrow farming going on in this valley. These they're not straight walls, but they're all about the same cubic, about the same square meterage. In other words, as much as one group can do in a day. It's literal subsistence, Middle Ages farming going on that you can see because there's farmers down there ridge and furrowing, which is mostly digging the stuff out of the furrow and putting it back up on the ridges.
One does the ridges, one does the furrows.
Yes. But certainly probably the most noticeable thing about that, there's let's say 6 teams out there. 5 of them are people pulling the plows, groups of people pulling and one person steering. There is only one actual ox pulling a plow. And that field that they're working is noticeably larger.
We're in the Corkid mobile, right?
Yep, you are in the multicolored the patchwork orchid mobile. Yes,
It's
made up of patchwork dragons, patchwork dragons, and steam piping, powered by springs.
looks like something out of a Pratchett novel.
Yes, yeah. By this point, there's probably bumper stickers on it too. I went to
3 more people riding in it than it actually has room for.
I went to Forley and all I got was this shitty bumper sticker.
I went to Forley and all I got was a wanted
wanted poster. Yeah.
It was a wanted poster.
All we got was Allegra.
Hey, at least it wasn't, and all we got was the plague.
I broke my ribs at Carnival Town.
I was kidnapped at Carnival Town.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I think
Matching
Delilah was
t-shirts.
driving.
Delilah, I believe, was driving.
Delilah was driving, and the which of the boys was in the front with you? I think it was
Sid.
Was it? Okay, the 2 of you in the front,
It's
the boys in
usually
the back,
Sid.
and then Artemis, and that makes sense. The A's in the
Because
back
Artemis
seat.
got in after the whole debacle.
The boys
Artemis
sit in
and
the rumble
Allegro,
seat.
and then the boys are usually in the rumble seat. Yeah.
Yeah.
But as we're driving down, and kind of at a not going too terribly fast, just leisurely across past these plots of land, Artemis is actually going to kind of sit up, reach over, and pull the brake between Sid and Delilah until the car stops.
You know you can use words, right?
And she's going to sit back down. So, are we actually going to talk about this, or are we just going to pretend it didn't happen? That Delilah died.
It's just like...
I'm laughing because at least one of you forgot. And the at least one of you that forgot, because I was watching, was the one playing Delilah.
I didn't forget.
You know what? It's
Please
been like a month.
I'm
Okay.
I'm going to mute myself. You guys have fun.
He mutes himself. He loses it.
God damn it.
Okay.
Fuck. I'm gonna go die of shame now.
Don't.
He turned.
He turned his camera off.
He recused himself.
Okay. Yeah. We'll be right back, folks.
Devin's dying and it's making me die. Oh wait, I already died.
So,
Hold on.
I think Sid's uncomfortableness with the topic kind of speaks for itself. Um yeah, he kind of just sort of leans back and to look at Artemis and, also get a good kind of make it so he's in part of the conversation, I guess.
Mind you, she is now finally misted with the green paint, so
Yeah.
she kind of looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
and at this moment, Allegra turns around in the back seat and says, boys, I think we should go for a walk. And I'm not tired. Oh, and they thud, ton of bricks. They get it, and they do that actor thing, like where they forget to walk because they know they're trying to be so cool that they forget how to actually. Yeah, but eventually the two of them get out of the rumble seat and leave, and Allegra uses her crutches to climb out, and the two of them they're walking away, and they come back and they do that, like, do you need help? And she's like, no, and the three of them walk off, and you can see them starting a conversation amongst themselves, and the boys keep looking at the crutches, and the three of them move off out of range.
Yeah. Sid's kind of at a loss for words because in my head I don't think he really knew Delilah was like dying. I think he knew she was in trouble and that, but yeah, he's kind of looking at Delilah expectantly.
Sorry.
What happened?
I don't know. I guess I was just in a really bad place. And it got to me.
It got to you.
I don't know. I went to bed. I wasn't expecting to die. I went to bed and then suddenly I was in another town having an out of body experience with a stranger. I don't know. It wasn't a
we were at the
choice.
mansion, and suddenly Fatima is screaming because you are basically dead, and we don't know what to do. And then you're back suddenly, somehow, fantastic, amazing. I'm not just going to stand here and forget that happened.
I didn't ask you to.
Well, we weren't talking about it.
I don't know what to say. Have you ever died and come back to life?
No. I've experienced a lot of people around me dying.
Well, it kind of sucks. And it's confusing. And there's really no way to explain what happened. It was weird and and scary, and I never want to do it again. And all I can say is I'm sorry. I don't know what I did, but I'm sorry.
You scared the shit out of me and Sid and Fatima. I'm not asking for apologies. I just want to talk about it so nothing like that has to happen again.
Okay. Is there something you need to know?
Was there something bothering you and you didn't feel you could tell us?
It all bothers me. Everything that's happened since the day we got those coins from Verite. And then Florence exploded, and so did everything about my life. And it sounds stupid that I can't accept that I have people who will help me through this, but there are things that I know only I can do, and I don't know. I didn't know if I could do them. And it was killing me, I guess.
And now?
And now I'm not as... Now I've got things a little more sorted. Doesn't make it any less terrifying, but I have resolve and I have friends. So I'm not a monster like I thought I was. There was a me that existed before the Citadel, before Florence. I never knew her because I was too young. But there is a spot that I can take now that is for the real me. And I have to figure out who that is.
Quick question. Does that particular sentence hit Artemis particularly hard? Considering how close you came to doing exactly the same thing and essentially stress heart attacking yourself to death? One square on a character sheet, if I remember correctly.
A little, yeah. Yeah. She's trying not to think about that too hard, but she's got her own issues. She's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Delilah kept saying.
I just wanted to make sure that the pot knew the kettle and you know.
Oh,
what I'm saying.
Artemis is fully aware that she's a giant hypocrite and that she also has so many problems. She's just not addressing those right now.
Yeah, we're not talking about that right now. Sid.
Well, you don't have to do that alone. You know that, right?
I know that now. I didn't know her at the mention.
Sid, at the mention of the before,
Mhm.
uh, any more motivation to join this conversation?
I don't know. Sid's kind of at a loss, I think, because his one square from death was a lot more real
More
and
physical.
quantifiable. That's what I
Yeah.
mean.
Physical.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can count them.
It would
You
have
can
been
count
easy.
the reasons that
Yeah.
are. You can
You
count
would
the
have been
things
able
that are
to.
wrong. You don't have to, sit on a couch about it.
It would be an easy determination as to the cause of death. Crushed
Yes.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bones in the wrong places.
Yeah. Rather than psychic damage. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm having the same problem everybody else has. It's been a month.
Yep.
I'm disconnected from the trauma.
Normally, that would be a good thing.
Yes, but in an RP situation, no.
But yeah, essentially the two of you, by which I mean Artemis and Sid, were this close to death. Delilah apparently had the sheer fucking audacity to cross the line, and now that's what we're discussing. So
Yeah.
I can understand why Sid's being quiet. He doesn't want to get, steamrolled because there's a lot of opportunities for finger pointing and you tooing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Artemis
Actually,
will totally take it.
I mean, actually,
Mhm.
after a moment of silence, expecting somebody else to talk, Delilah says, "No finger pointing, but we have a habit of pushing ourselves to the brink, and I think we need to address that."
I agree.
Mm.
Granted, Sid was kidnapped and beat the fuck up. That can
I fell off the
probably
side
be
of a
avoided.
house.
Yes.
That
That was done
actually
to
still
him
my
and not
fault.
ignored. That was
Yeah, that was so. I said, well, yeah. If he hadn't,
this time, that instance of Sid being beaten to us within an inch of his life was partially somebody else's fault. The other times,
Actually, he's like,
But the other times
other
were
time was
Artemis's
just
fault.
I
the
need
car, wasn't
to come to a bit
Yeah.
of bit of a confession. I fell off the side of a bloody building.
What?
When I escaped, they didn't beat me really at all. That one lad, Verite hits harder. I was drunk and rowdy. They saw a mark and they took it. And in my attempt to escape, I fell off the side of a bloody building.
Ow?
Ow.
Ow.
Still hurts.
Yeah.
No kidding. How long's it
But
been
what
since
hurts
that?
worse, that or
Like-
being called Coas's footman? Because that's how the
No,
ransom letter
one's-
was written out.
One's psychological and one's physical. It's like apples to oranges.
We were very
I'll admit
confused
it
for a
hurts
good
more than I
moment there.
thought. It definitely hurts more than I thought.
It's like twisting the knife.
A little bit. It was
Mm.
funny at the time. He called me a footman. He's like, "Oh, your employer." Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was
if-
confusing. Not gonna lie.
We had no idea.
But yeah, we're just starting to wonder if maybe we haven't left Florence yet. Venice is where we're going.
I think that answers the question right there. Little head trauma, little rib cage trauma, a lot of psychological trauma.
A lot of psychological trauma.
A lot of psychological trauma.
You two both know about the ghosts.
Yeah, how's
They
that going?
It's very strange. The two that I thought were your parents apparently aren't. So I have no idea who the bloody hell they are. They haven't left.
No, they were her parents, weren't they?
Your parents are alive. That's why we're going.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, the ones. So they would be memories, not ghosts.
Yeah. But
so he's confused about that.
He's confused
Yes.
about
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. On the same page now.
Yeah. I like
Wait,
that. That's
Lila's
actually a very. Thank
parents.
you for pointing that out. That's a really cool
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
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 The last couple of times, the first one was on the river. I've seen two ghosts looking for a little girl.
Yeah, you almost jumped off the raft.
They've
About
been
that.
dogging me since then. I see them more than my parents.
I had a hunch that they were my parents.
But didn't that shite in Florence tell us that parents are alive?
Exactly. But
Sid, they're right there.
how do you?
Yeah.
Like, with all the other ghosts, like there's the whole row of ghosts and these two
Yeah.
weird ghosts at the end.
I can't shake it. You saw my parents. You saw probably me as a little girl. If my parents are alive, are you just seeing memories too?
Well, it must be memories because you're not dead.
At those words, a little girl walks up behind the couple and pulls on mom's skirts, but mom doesn't notice. And then pulls on dad's pants, but dad doesn't notice. And it's little Delilah. Sid, of course,
Sid's
you're the only
gaze
one that can see
travels.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, Sid's gaze travels mid-sentence.
Artemis will look too, knowing she won't see anything.
Yep.
I'm just like studying
It's
Sid.
a little girl and you. But they don't see her.
I guess they didn't see me when I got taken.
They were frantic.
I would hope so. I wouldn't want parents who didn't care. I'm starting to wonder if they knew my parents because I remember my dad looking too.
Your
Where were you?
parents are standing right there.
Yeah.
Right next to that couple.
Yeah.
Dressed in appropriate clothes for the journey.
Yeah.
They were on the same boat. At least in Sid's head.
Mm. And that's how I knew about your name. They were calling it out.
So I know like she turns to Artemis and she's like, I know it sounds crazy basing my whole origin story on memories.
The ravings of a madman.
No,
And
you're not a madman.
you see the smirk under the mustache.
Good lord. No. It what
It's
he
not crazy.
says sounds right. It rings some sort of bell in my mind, but
You said yourself that the Citadel was stealing children. It's not
that's
at
what
all
that
unlikely that
what's
you
his
were
name?
stolen
Inceptum?
from the
Yeah.
ship. And if that's the case, it's possible the whole ship was looking. It could be the ghosts Sid's seeing aren't your parents, but are just some other people on the ship. It could be a memory. It could be both.
It doesn't help that they don't have faces.
They didn't have faces in my vision either. They came to me when I was fighting to live, you know, as Sid described them to me before, and they still, their voices were clear, like I'd heard them before, but they still didn't have faces. But I knew who they were. And they helped me find who I am. It's just a
Yeah.
pity that they're not both in Venice.
Sid's like, I'm a man of science. I'm a man of things I can hold in my hand, manipulate with my will. None of this bloody makes sense. And it's ever since that volcano.
I wish we could blame it on like inhaling gas, but we haven't been around Florence in weeks.
Maybe this is the madness they were keeping us from. And he,
Well, as someone who's not a
I think
person of
it's
science
reality.
and was ridiculed multiple times by family for it, I can't say I see ghosts like you said, but I do have one that follows me everywhere. It's not going crazy, I don't think. It's not necessarily illogical. It is like it's like the scars you get from an injury, but on your brain. Something that just sticks. And sometimes memories from when you were young are confusing and convoluted, and you don't remember things the right way or the correct way, or people don't have faces, or details are blurry. It doesn't have to make sense for it to feel right. It's less one-to-one information, and sometimes it's simply a feeling.
By the way, I know my real name. Well, part of it. Felicity.
It's a nice name. Do you
Yeah,
want to go by that now?
I'm still not sure. I'm trying it out, but slowly. So I'll tell you if I ever do.
Okay.
Sid then looks pointedly at Artemis. Now that we've bared our hearts, I think it's your turn. What the hell happened back there? City in flames.
Technically, the flames are the only part of that mass destruction that were not Artemis's fault.
Yeah. She was the art part of it.
You broke all the gears and shattered the place with a healthy cannonade of assistance. But yeah,
I didn't crash the cart. I just cut the brakes.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, the fire was that was the lads. I think that fire is the answer to everything. But anyway,
Fucking boys.
That place was freaky. And when
Right.
you went into the hospital spa thing,
Glorified
whatever.
restaurant, really. Like,
I'm not certain. When Delilah was going to try and heal you, and Allegra went with you, I decided to wander because where there's a strict regime, there's usually a rebellion of some sort. And I found someone who could tell me about it, about the city, about how it worked. And how basically once every 14 days, they would have a day where they were not working and were basically weighted on hand and foot by the others. And then the other days they worked for the people whose day it was. And
that's what the whole
yeah,
costume changed.
yeah, it was like shifts in a really strange way. When I asked them about it, the person I was talking to, oh god, I wrote the name down, I can't find it. Tanisha. She said it was awful living that way, and I asked her why she didn't leave. And she said because they didn't have anything to leave without the system. They were so ingrained in this pattern that she no longer knew how to break free of it, because having that day where you're treated like royalty was better than having the freedom of the outside of the city.
You always got something to look forward to.
And that's stupid. And
It just wrote Chuck was like, you haven't done shift work.
no, unfortunately.
It's intoxicating. The ability to know when your next day of freedom will be.
So I did what I do best.
Incited a revolution?
Well, art, but yes. I'm an artist. I'm not practical. So I make do with what I can.
Practicality has its use.
You managed to just
Impracticality has its use too.
That's what he said.
Oh,
Just,
I didn't hear the
whispered a
M.
little bit. Sorry. That's on me.
Excuse me.
It's okay.
In the distance, you see three people, a thing, and a torch approaching, and I will describe the thing now. You know the old-fashioned Victorian baby carriages, the big, gigantic wheels and the suspension.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Veritade version of one of those being pushed across the field by Stefano, who has a look of great concentration on his face because instead of a baby in the carriage, it's a pot of steaming stew. And Verite is walking in front of him, like looking for trying to clear the path as they worked, but there's nothing to clear because they just did this. So he's just feeling useless. And Stefano's pushing the cart and trying not to spill, and Allegra's following along behind, giving advice that not necessarily anybody might be listening to. But they are headed roughly in your direction in that order, bearing stew. They have not arrived, but their arrival is imminent.
Imminent. I believe we have a delivery on its way.
Doubtful.
Are you two okay?
Better than I was, but it's going to take some time to fully heal.
Okay is a relative term.
That too.
Noted. I just feel like we don't ask ourselves that question enough. And things have not been okay. So
No, and I'm starting to realize just how used to not okay I've gotten in the last couple of years.
last couple of weeks.
As you
I was oblivious until the bloody volcano. So
as you the three of you say that, the others get close enough that you can see their faces in the torchlight, and then you look back at each other, and there's a difference. The three of you, only one of you has this as a technical adjective, but the three of you, when you look in each other's eyes, look haunted. Like there's that burned out crow's feet, just deadness, dullness that's in there.
like the glass shattered and we were finally seeing
You're still
what's
standing,
actually there.
but yeah, it's a stem and a bit of a base. That's all that's left, right?
Yeah, Artemis didn't misspeak years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I would say to you guys, Sid looks frail. He's
Yeah.
always been this big, solid door of a man. But to continue with the metaphor, he's on his last hinges.
Yeah.
Delilah looks hollow.
Yep.
Just like emotionally and mentally and a little kind of physically too.
Oh yeah.
Just like her whole life was carved out of her.
Yeah.
And now she is trying to fill it back up, but she doesn't have the stuff to fill it with yet.
Yep. You're
If
a
you look
Halloween
closely,
pumpkin. You're a hollow man. Sorry. Go, Artemis.
if you look closely at Artemis, she's gotten good at hiding it.
Yeah.
And she's gotten good in that, which is why she can mask it so easily.
Mm-hmm.
But she's cracking.
Yeah.
And I think if you look close enough, you guys can see it. She might not even realize it herself.
Sid reaches over. He puts one hand on her shoulder, and his other hand on Felicity's leg. I think we all need to eat, but together, I think we're going to be okay. We just need to rely on each other a little bit more.
Yeah. Besides, we can't stop now. We have to save the world.
I mean,
She says that right when Vera taken here.
Yeah.
I was about to be like, those two idiots aren't going to do it, but she doesn't say that. She doesn't say that.
Mentioning those two persons, they approach in order. Verite comes up first, and we were talking about faces a second ago. He is still, for the most part, oblivious. Is the face like it's just like he's so in this moment that there's nothing bothering him because he's doing right now. He's doing a thing. Uh, Stefano, as he pushes that card up, there is an intensity to Stefano that kind of hit in Capitalismville back there, Lemville. There is, he's almost enjoying this too much. He is just like, yes, let's do this. He is taking this as a personal challenge to bring out.
How bruised is his face still?
Oh, he's gonna permanently have one of those upside down broccoli noses. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. His whole face that was one punch of 20 years of aggravation that hit him. So yeah, he's not pretty, but he looks really, really intense. And then of course behind them all, Allegra just oozing empathy from every pore as they roll back up. Verite turns and looks at Stefano and says, "Oh, we gave back the suits." And he turns around to the three of you and says, "Would your majesties like to eat?" And he does a big bow. And then he mutters from his full bowed position, "Imagine I'm wearing blue and gold." In case you didn't get it. Right?
We don't need
Artemis
to
coated in
act like
green,
that
like
here.
the fucking Grinch.
Yeah.
Berto, we appreciate it, but that's not necessary.
Well, that was Stefano.
No,
Oh, it was Stefano.
No, it was Verite.
No,
Oh,
it was Berto.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Stefano's pushing the cart. Yeah, this was Verite giving you that. And yeah, and Allegra says, "The locals are ever so nice. It insisted on sharing."
That's
That's
nice.
a welcome change.
They're not the crazy kind of locals.
No, sharing. They gave us this, and I gave them some advice about their cow. And she starts like climbing
So no
awkwardly
predilection
back into
for
the car.
explosives or witch hunts or scheduled regimes.
Not that I saw, and the stew is wonderful. They insisted I have a bowl before I came. I don't need any more. Help yourselves. It's right
Okay,
at that
so it's
point.
not
Look.
poisoned. Good.
Oh no, I had some. So did the boys. It's very, very good. It's just at that point where it's starting to really thicken up. Oh, the potatoes are starting to float in the. Oh, it's so good. You should try some. And this whole time she's doing the process of getting herself into the back seat of the car and pulling in the crutches. The boys just hop in the back.
Delilah will step out of the car and walk around to the tureen of soup.
Yep.
Did they bring like some bowls and spoons?
When you get around the back where the push
Your
bar
hands.
is, when you get around the back where the push bar is, there's a little bar across it, and there's a series of little matched. They're actually French onion soup bowls on little strings.
Little soup crocks.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so Delilah will take one and
because you can make those in a furnace.
And she will get herself some stew.
And it is, I mean, it's vegetable stew. There's no meat to be seen in it anywhere, but it is just yums. Like it's just thick and just sticking to the ribs.
Yeah, Artemis will hop out and she'll hand one to a bowl that's full to Sid and then grab one for herself too. Just so Sid doesn't have to try and stumble over.
Yeah.
Because he's still not doing great.
Oh.
And it's that, yeah, it's that February afternoon cocoa sort of feel good, like it's just pure endorphins, food endorphins.
You can feel the warmth radiating through your body.
Yeah, and all the shit and gook and miserable bad thoughts getting forced out just by the sheer healthy goodness of it all. Like the last time you guys had a meal with vegetables and stuff in it would have been when you were at the mansion, right? I mean, on the
Yeah.
road, you eat trail mix, basically. Right?
And the fare just was
Hardtack.
basically junk.
Yeah, it was all
Yeah.
candy floss and mini donuts. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And
I mean, as
and
delicious
Sid's
as it
still swimming
sounds,
in
Fun,
a
like,
fun
bottle
for a
stuffed
so
with
week, maybe
liquor.
two, but sorry.
ugh.
Yeah. Sid's, still swimming in a belly full of liquor.
Oh yes, yeah. Oh,
So
the after
actual
effects
food.
of that. Yeah.
All right, you did grab
Something
liquor
that-
from the
Yep. Oh yeah,
from the
you
town
guys.
too.
The entire time the revolution was happening, he was sitting at a bar with a guy
Yeah.
who was looting the place, getting drunk.
Yep.
Yeah, and you left with a couple bottles too. I
One of
remember.
the one
Yeah.
of the very few people in that city that actually had transferable work skills. So they're going to be
Mhm.
fine. Everywhere needs bartenders, except Kentucky. Never mind. I think they're still a dry state. I think
I'm gonna
I
tell
think dry
Brandon.
counties.
counties. Yeah, the one
Yeah.
where they make Jack Daniels is famously a dry counties.
The irony. Anyway, so
It's the only reason any of it gets out. Yeah.
Delilah will Delilah will eat her food kind of slowly to savor it,
Mhm.
and she doesn't like rush herself. She actually lets herself take her time and just sort of reflect. And she doesn't really like talk a lot as she eats, but the one thing that is still weighing on her mind a lot is the idea of who she is,
Mhm.
and she has to somehow figure out what she wants Felicity to be.
Yeah. You are in
And
the
it's
unique
just
position to build yourself as an adult. Yep.
yeah. So she just kind of she tries to think about that without it getting to her,
Hmm.
and then once she's done with her stew, she will put the bowl and spoon back and get back into the driver's seat of the car.
And when Artemis is done, and when Delilah is pointedly done eating
Yes.
because she's a shit, she'll say, "So Delilah, if you and Coas do end up together, does that make us sisters?"
Sid chokes on a potato.
She waited
As you
until
hear,
Delilah was done.
yeah, you hear one of the pots hit the ground. You look over, and the boys they were getting ready to wheel the cart back, and Allegra's getting ready to get out of the cart again. One of them dropped that when they heard that. I'm not going to tell you which one. I know, but I'm not going to tell you. But Allegra just
Stefano, isn't it?
doesn't even pause. Just keeps getting out of the car like they didn't even hear it.
Allegra doesn't know who Coas is.
No, I'm just going to take the pot back. I told them I would.
Yeah.
Drive
Uh,
you closer.
Oh, no, you're not done. And the
Okay.
boys are like, oh, and they jump back out. They were getting in the back. They were gonna have a nice snooze. They just had lunch, right? And they're like, oh, and they jump. They're getting it. They're gaining social skills slowly. But yeah, they jump back out and help Allegra push the stew pot back towards the nearest farm. And you hear Allegra say, "Besides, I have to fix their cow."
How does one fix a cow?
I have a feeling I don't want to know what kind of fixing she means.
Noted.
Two bricks and
There-
no sense of empathy. That's how you fix a cow. It's a bull,
Yeah,
actually.
that was one way my brain was going.
Anyway,
I watch a hoof trimmer on YouTube when I'm bored. I got completely different. It's like changing tires, but that was not what I was expecting. Two bricks and no empathy.
I was in the castration sort of
Yes,
vein
yeah.
there with my brain.
Yep.
Anyway, are you serious with that question? Oh,
I mean, yeah.
I mean, logically, I guess it would mean that.
I mean, you're
I-
way out of his league, just so you know, right?
Oh, come off it.
No, she's right. And that's not a knock on Coas.
But I have so many secrets about that man from when we were kids, if you want to know.
But you can't put me in that position.
I absolutely can. I'm his little
Oh,
sister. It
you
is my
know I'm
job.
gonna
It
have
is
to
the
know
I have not
eventually.
gotten to have this chance to embarrass him. Okay? He's always been work, 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 work.
I thought you were going to say he's so good at doing it himself, but
I mean, that too, but
Okay, one embarrassing fact today.
I can do that.
Okay. Starting now.
Meanwhile, somewhere in Quebec, Phil's going, my ears are burning.
Now Robin has to think of things.
Okay.
It's okay.
Did you know before he started with the militia, he thought about being a musician?
Really?
he can hold a tune.
Guess his instrument.
Hopefully something that
Don't
doesn't
say
involve singing.
trumpet.
No.
Why do I want to say violin?
No.
Cello?
Oh, those are all so dignified.
Recorder.
Tambourine.
Oh no.
He was the rhythm
He wanted to
section.
be the best tambourine player in all of Italy.
Be the only tambourine player in all of Italy.
That would have been, if he had made that career choice, in actuality, that might have actually gotten the parents off of me. Instead, he had to be the good kid and go be part of the militia.
Sometimes you should just let your dreams be dreams.
Yeah, and he
Tambourine.
shouldn't have left his prospective love interest with his younger sister.
Look, Gois admittedly is not one for foresight.
Yeah. He'll probably realize the mistake a couple days from now, and then it'll be too late.
Yeah. Oh god. Thomas is going to be a menace.
I was just going to say, at this exact moment in Florence, we do a flash cut to Coas's face, and he comes around the corner and goes, "Oh, Thomas!" Cut back to this conversation.
Oh, he absolutely is.
I think that was
Well-
going to happen no matter who took Thomas under his wing. That
Yeah.
boy is a devil.
I will say, your brother is a good man. And I hope that rubs off on Thomas.
Me too.
I don't really know anyone else better suited to hopefully influence a young boy.
Aside from everything else, Cohus means well and wants to do good. He always has, even if he tends to put his foot in his mouth.
You know, there
lot.
are worse things you can do.
Yeah.
But if I get to have dirt on him too, that's going to be interesting. Don't worry, I won't use it against him unless I want something.
Hey, it's always good to have leverage in a negotiation situation.
I like the idea of doing that in a relationship, but it's funny. I don't think I'd ever really use it against him, but maybe watch him squirm a bit as I
Little
threaten it.
embarrassing moments are for relationships.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Say, oh, you're cute. Oh, I'm glad you didn't say you're an idiot. Oh, that's really sweet. Maybe I'm not the person to
Well, the
ask.
parents aren't around to show
Yeah.
embarrassing baby photos, so someone has to do it.
The only baby
You know,
photos of me are under 6 meters of ash, thankfully.
I doubt I ever had baby photos outside of maybe my mum has some.
You're probably the only one that has a missing poster.
And that realization dawns on her too, and she's like, "Oh God."
Face on the side of a milk
Oh,
carton.
Yep.
I was making that joke in my head.
Yeah. The milk carton girl.
Okay, well. I mean, if all goes well, then we'll be sisters. If not, then we won't.
Then we'll just be good friends.
Obviously, of course.
The baby cart comes bouncing across the field again. This time it's just Stefano, and he's singing a little bit. And instead of the soup pot, there's now you can see it's like a wooden box, but it looks like mist coming off of it, and you realize it's full of ice, and in the
Someone
ice,
gave him brandy.
and he comes bouncing up beside the thing, and he says, "Would anyone like a beer?" And then imagine him wearing blue and gold. And he plunges his hands and he's digging through the ice and starts pulling out these. I mean, they're stubby. Somebody's reused them. All the labels are gone off them, but somebody, and you can see the sediment at the bottom. This is homemade beer, but someone has bottled beer, and he's got it in shaved ice.
Wow, these are welcoming people.
Are you sure they don't want to get us drunk and then rob us?
What have we got left to rob?
We've got a car.
Nobody knows how to use but us.
Fair.
Ah,
Oh God, a beer sounds so good.
ah.
Artemis will take
he's
one.
doing the thing
Yeah,
where
Delilah
they're all
takes it.
open and between the fingers as they.
Sid
Yeah.
grabs one too, because
Delilah just takes like the biggest sip and she
Yeah.
goes, "Oh, that's so good."
And he's already putting full ones up on the side of the car, like along the edge of the car for you guys for the next round. He says, Verité's already passed out. He had a whole beer. And
man.
apparently there's more than one ill cow. So I was told to come over here and amuse you. I jokingly said that would be easier to do with beer. And ta-da! And he spills a little bit. Oh, shit.
Well, bless you, Stefano.
Oh, don't bless me, bless them. They're really nice people.
Them too.
It's almost weird. Should we perhaps go meet these strange cow-having folk?
Oh, they've
Yeah,
only
save-
got one cow, but there's another one over there, and there's another one over there, and they're instead of making Allegra walk everywhere, they're going to bring all. If the mountain won't go to Mahama go to the that backwards, they're going to bring the cows to Allegra so she can fix them.
Stefano, do you want a lift back to this town?
Can I sit in a beer?
Sure.
And he tries to.
Your ass is gonna.
Yeah,
though.
he realizes what he said, but he's going through with it. So he's just has another big drink, and you can see him just his cheeks are freezing, and everything else is starting to But he's riding back there like a wheelbarrow style in it. Who's pushing? Who's pushing
I figured we
these
just put it in
nuts?
the back of the car.
Yeah, I say we just tow it with the car.
Yep, absolutely.
Put him in the rumble
Funny
seat
you should say that, because I realized a couple minutes ago, if you turn it around and back the handle of the pram up, it clicks over the back of the bumper because Verite made it, so of course it bloody does. And it is and it is
So he's
towable.
sitting backwards,
Yeah.
watching the countryside
Whee!
go by.
Yeah.
That is a unique an experience. An experience that is
Artemis will
uniquely
keep an
entertaining
eye
when
on it
drunk.
just to make sure he doesn't fall out and we don't notice.
Well, you guys are also going to have to drive across the ridge and furrow to get to the house too. So, I mean, it's down a furrow, but it's still going to kind of be like a half pipe while you steer your car down there with him behind you,
Oh,
going,
great
la
thing
la
to do
la la,
while we're
spilling beers.
drinking
Bicycle
beer.
tires.
Yeah.
There's no like road up to the house.
No, they don't have a car.
Do
Where
they
we're
have
going,
a
they don't need a road.
cart?
Nope. This was one of
Or
the. This was one of the
A
houses.
horse?
This was one of the houses that had the earlier on today. You saw
Or,
people
like,
pulling the plow.
The need to
it's
leave
just
the
people.
house?
Yeah,
There
there's
aren't
paths, like little
our
walking
understanding
paths.
isn't a whole lot of
Yeah.
like livestock left.
Well, there's way more
Well,
than
I'm
you
just
thought
trying to
there
think-
was, but there's still
Yeah.
only 2 or 3. There's 2 or 3 oxen in the valley that you saw, and
I was
apparently there's at
thinking
least
that
3
walking
cows.
paths would be wider, but I guess if it's a walking path, it's not going to fit a car.
Yeah, at most a cow.
Yeah.
It's one cow wide. So yeah. Anyway, it's I'm not going to make anybody roll or anything. It's just a bouncy trip up through the field.
We can take it slow.
Yeah.
As
Thumb
you
firmly on the cap.
Yeah. As you work your way towards this little stone, it's about 3 feet of stone and then wattle and daub and then the traditional cone thatched roof. Right, this is pure medieval tech. There's
Read
no
this in a
lights.
book once.
There's no lights other than torches.
More
The
Anglo-Saxon.
chickens
'Cause
and
I'm a
cows
nerd.
and yes, yeah, chickens and cows and everything. Not cows, chickens and ducks running around and kids and but
Geese.
but coming from every direction,
Fucking
there's
geese.
more people, like 1 or 2 more. I say every direction. There's at least a dozen people you can see making their way towards this farm, and they're all bringing stuff. They're coming to a potluck, right? Like somebody's got a salad and there's one person with a chicken, like that's cooked a chicken, because like I said earlier, it's vegetables, right? You're not gonna, if you got 12 chickens, you ain't killing one unless it's a special event.
So which person brought the Jello salad?
And then
they
which
were,
person brought the Jello shots?
the second one of those killed the first one of those last month. So, got drunk and said, no. At least my Jello makes people happy. Bleh. So yes. So yes.
And 3 people made hot dishes because they didn't all coordinate
Yes.
ahead of time, and now they
Yes.
just all ended up with way too much hot dish.
Well, there's way too much of
Warning, we're
everything,
everywhere.
right? Everybody is, and you can see the pots, not the cutlery, but the pots themselves. They're all hand spun, handmade, and they're all different. They're all slightly different, so you can tell who made what. Just from what's, plus you can get your own pots back at the end of the night.
Artemis
yeah.
is fascinated
It's
by
an
the
after
artistry.
church
Yeah.
potluck.
It is.
It is a
I
church
feel like-
potluck.
Yep.
I feel like I'm at home again.
Yeah. And there's like, at a glance, there is way too much. I mean, way too much food. You guys, everybody here and everybody that's still coming, because they're still coming from the further out farms. Everybody's coming.
Wow.
You're a thing. I mean, you're a car. You're people. You're a patchwork dragon giant orchid towing a drunk guy in a baby carriage. You're a thing. This is a tiny little, not even a village. This is like individual little subsistence level farms, right?
Artemis will lean over from the back seat over to the between Delilah and Sid and say, "I'm feeling like we should have brought something."
Not sure how well they'll take to 40-year-old scotch, but
From-
I've got a bottle of that.
From behind I was gonna say from behind comes a hand with a beer in it, but a hand comes up with a beer that Sid says that, and the hand with the beer goes back down. Hand comes up with just a thumb. Yeah, good idea.
Stefano, they gave us the beer. We can't come with the beer they gave you.
There's no label, but I get your point. Okay, my ass is frozen. Can somebody help me out? I don't think I can move my legs.
Let's hope it's the only thing that's frozen.
Artemis will get up and start trying to help him out
Yeah.
of this.
He's got
Baby
like
carriage.
he's got like the double dead leg thing going, like when you sit too long and both legs are asleep, but you have to get to
Mhm.
the door or the toilet or somewhere. Like
Oh, you
yeah.
got the stanky
He's,
leg.
he's doing the double,
Oh.
both legs.
double
It's just like,
stanky leg.
Plus, it's all starting to melt now and run down. So even the parts that weren't cold before, all the ice is running down the back, like in the back of your knee.
Oh
I don't care how
no.
Arctic you are, cold water, ice water in the back of the fucking knee. Yeah,
Ugh.
he's
That's
not,
cold.
and he's still drunk. So he's ah. He doesn't know how to stop it, so he's still walking every step. Yeah.
Ugh. Wet
And
pants
Artemis will look to
are
Delilah,
not fun.
and
They're
he
but for
was
the
an
grace of God.
intern for you.
He wasn't drunk when he was an intern.
But still.
I knew him for like a day. I didn't make him an intern.
That's true.
There's a,
He's really smart, just also really dumb.
there's a big bonfire going in the middle, in front of this house, in the middle of their little farmyard. They've obviously just built it. You don't have, 8-foot wide bonfire every night. This is a special event. It's a party. So they get the bonfire ripping, and you see at the bonfire, it takes a couple looks to figure it out, but there's 3 dogs and a verite in a big pile, asleep at the edge of the fire.
Well, that tracks.
Yeah, that really, really does.
There's 3 great big stonking field dogs and verite just crashed out by the fire.
He is the
Artemis for the
warmest
first
person
time kind of
ever.
tries to like
Yeah.
run her hand through her hair, and it's like kind of stuck down with the
With
the
Oh
paint.
my god.
It's like
Paint and knots and
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and
Stop.
she's
and
like,
you do the crunch, and it's like green dandruff flying everywhere. Oh yeah,
yeah, but she kind of works with it. She's just like,
yeah.
she doesn't care.
Delilah, I think Delilah's hair is fully down right now.
Mhm.
Or no, it's like half up, half down. That's what it is. Delilah, I think she sees Artemis kind of like tousle her hair or attempt to,
Yeah.
and she'll be like, fully down hair sounds really good right now. So
Yeah.
she'll like unclip the part that's like up, and then she'll just like let it all fall loose, and she'll like run her fingers through her hair,
Yeah.
which is also like tangled and shit.
Yeah.
But like, she's like, just there's nothing like running your hands through your hair after you haven't for so long.
Yeah.
It's just like something really like stimulating about that, and she just like, it makes her smile a little bit. It's one of the, it's like those little things,
And in my head, Sid's doing the same thing with his mustache.
Actually, Sid takes his flat cap off, and you
you're-
notice that
yeah.
he's actually got about probably a half-inch of hair,
Yeah, it's growing in.
and it's a widow's peak,
Mm-hmm.
like a really strong widow's peak. It goes probably, it's not to the point where they're meeting in the back,
Yeah,
but give it another 5 years, and they probably will, and he'll just have a mohawk.
you'll have the island. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll have the island.
Yeah. So as you do this, as you sort of become aware of your your dirts and other accoutrements of the trip, one of the older ladies in this gathering, because there's a lot of them, well, I mean, a lot in this world, there's probably 13 or 14 people now here and another half a dozen coming, and one of the older ladies sees you doing that and gives you and kind of points over behind the hut. The wrong word, the house. It's a roundhouse. And she points over behind it, and you can see steam rising.
Delilah turns to Artemis and is like, I think they made a bath.
Sid just smiles like, I've had my day in the spa. You too. I'm gonna go get another beer.
Still to Artemis, Delilah's just like, you are caked in green paint. Do not say no.
Artemis will grab 2 beers.
Yeah.
Then you're coming with me.
I never said I wasn't.
So the two,
And yeah.
the two
Yeah,
of you
go ahead.
head off, and there's one. It's basically one long metal trough that's been cleaned very nicely, but it's obviously that they don't do this every day either. There's a couple of younger ladies pouring hot water from kettles into it. And they've hung a series of curtains. They didn't know how many people were coming back here, so they've hung 4 curtains. So it kind of makes 4 little sections, but it's all one big trough of hot water.
What did Allegra tell them?
I don't know. The cows must be made of gold or something, though. Like, Jesus.
As if to answer that, a cow gambols around the corner like it's a cow, a full-grown adult ass cow with the zoomies.
You know, I'm just gonna take it.
Yeah, I mean, not weirder than anything else we've seen.
Yeah. Yeah. So Delilah, I guess, will step into the sort of curtained off area and undress and get into
Yeah.
the water.
Yep.
Artemis looks fucking hilarious because anywhere that there was clothes, there is no green.
Yep. Yep. Oh yeah. Yep. And yep. So the two
And
of
the
you.
water just turns green.
And it's paint, so it just settles. Yeah.
She's like sitting in
Yeah.
a melted shamrock shake.
I wasn't going to mention it, but Delilah would probably want to be at the other end because there would be some spread of that paint over time. But I guess to think,
Yeah.
oh, you know what would actually happen? This is horrible. Thanks, science. It would get to, I said there was cloths hanging to sort of separate it. So it would get to that and then wick up the cloth. So you'd watch the green paint climbing up the cloth like damp mold. Like mold climbing
Thanks
a wall.
for that visual,
There you
Kevin.
go. Thank you. Hey, if I have to see it, you have to see it. Which
Yeah,
leaves.
so Delilah will. I think the first thing Delilah does is just like goes completely under the water.
Yeah.
Not for too long, just like to dunk and like scrunch her, like
Yeah.
scrub her hair a little bit, and then come back up. And it's just like kind of finally relieving or like releasing the tension, I guess,
Yes,
that's
yeah.
been in her body for weeks.
Mhm. If one was a religious person, one might almost refer to it as a sort of a oh god, I'm putting it off because I can't remember the word.
Baptism?
That's the
Baptism?
one. That's the one. Yeah, kind of like a self baptism, seeing as how we're in Italy and everything. So yeah, maybe that's for you. But we're gonna leave the two of you back there in the bath for in your baths for a moment because I want to walk Sid into this little town. Stefano is doing the double thing ahead of you. People are laughing at him and helping him sit down, and somebody brings him another pair of pants, and 2 other people stand up and kind of hold up a tablecloth so he can go behind it and change pants. And everybody here, as you walk in, there's kind of a it's just like walking into a comfortable place. As soon as you sort of move into that light ring of the town, when you sort of they very specifically weren't noticing you when you went around to the tubs. You saw that. They didn't see them go around the back very intentionally. You came in, joined the party. So as you walk in, you're handed more drinks. Do you have the bottle of scotch visible?
He's got it in his bag. I think he'd probably pull it out when he gets to a
because they're handing you
location.
Food and drinks and trying to get you 4 desserts, and you hear the phrase.
Is it like an army of like grandmas who are like food pushers who try to like get you? Like,
I am getting babushkas to
Eat,
death.
Santa.
Oh yes, you
eat.
don't look like you've eaten in a week. I know
I'm
what it's
being
like on the
babushka'd to
road.
death.
You've just been eating nuts, and just yeah.
Nuts and berries and shit.
He's good for you. Yeah. Yeah. Sid's overwhelmed at the honesty of it.
They pull up a stump, literally pull up a stump for you by the fire to sit
Mhm.
on because there's not enough chairs because there's not that many people here on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But you're given sort of pride of place, inner circle, right?
Yeah. I think
Upwind. They really
yeah.
like you.
Yeah, he's actually going to then like the next person, he's like he hands them the bottle of scotch. He's like, make sure this gets around.
And there's one of those weird moments where no one speaks, and the guy standing there holding the bottle, and every eye in the place is just looking at the bottle. And he kind of grins. He says, that's that's 41 years old.
You have been
It's got a label and a UPC code on it.
you lot have been amazing. And I thought it was only right to share my gratitude.
I have to tell you, it's not going to last 40 seconds.
That's fine.
Would you
It's
like
our gift.
Would you like the first drink? Because I won't get to ask you again.
I would be honored.
And in a pleasant way. You know that circle where you guys were getting surrounded outside the Lemville when they were coming for all your stuff, all your stuffies. It's kind of like that, but this time it's like watching people trying to get close when at a wedding when they're throwing the bouquet. It's like that sort of semi-predatory thing where nobody wants
How
to
close
look
can I
like the
get
one
without being rude?
without being the one standing in the middle going "fuck you all."
It's called vulturing.
yes, there it is. Thank you. They're vulturing, but very pleasantly, closing in on you. And the guy says, "All right then," and he cracks the paper because it's got the paper strip, and then he stops and he does. Oh, I've always wanted to do this, and he goes, on the side of the and it does that and flies off, and he has a big drink, and by the time it's back down to here, it's gone out of his hand. And it's just this bottle. It just goes, and then pretty soon
Wait,
they're
didn't
waving.
Sid get the first one though?
I thought you said you didn't want it.
He said he'd be honored.
Oh, honored. Okay, I thought you said
Yeah.
okay. So yes, in that case, he spins it off, covers it with his hand, hands it to you. You have the drink. Then he has the drink. Then poof, it's gone.
It's like, I just gotta say, lad, we're not used to this. Honest people, it's
That isn't obvious.
a little weird.
What kind of people are you used to?
Crazies. There's
Oh.
he stops, takes a drink. He's like, I've got a story for you lot.
Let me tell you about a place called Florence.
No, he's not gonna give the
maybe
he's
not
gonna give the
Florence.
full-
Everywhere but Florence, maybe.
everywhere but
yeah.
Florence. The crazy forest hippies, the
Fair.
the
Carnival town.
Carnival town, Lemville.
So when the two of you finish your bathes and come around the corner to the smell of food and drink, and by the time you guys come around, there's the whole 20 people, like the whole valley's here. Everybody's here. They're drinking, they're eating. As you come around the corner, suddenly it's like, bam, you're included, and you've been here forever. You've got plates of food being shoved at you and drinks, and somebody saying, catch up, you just got here. And just overwhelming friendliness. Sid is over there. He's that guy at the bar they put him on a stool at the end of the bar and they're buying him drinks, so he keeps telling him stories of faraway places.
Some of them just over the other hill.
Yes.
Yeah, Delilah will take her like 3 plates of food that she's been given and find a suitable place to sit down and just like really savor the meal.
Yeah.
She has not eaten like this since Florence.
Yep.
I guess they kind of ate like that at the mansion, but not quite
Not
this
like
good.
this. This is all homemade, all like
Fatima's good,
to be
but
honest,
she's not babushka good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, in all honesty, Delilah's never had food like this.
Yeah.
She grew up on nasty like MRE Citadel food.
Yeah. You can
And
taste
yeah,
the
they
love,
had like
right? You can taste the love in this
yeah,
food.
they had like
called
they
butter.
had the food court at the Citadel that was like high-end food, but it
Yep.
didn't feel like this.
Not like this, no.
So she is just like sitting down and savoring this food and like having an experience.
Yeah, and bottles of beer, giant glasses of beer, and just anything you could imagine. There's ciders, there's
Oh, she goes
juices.
hard on the cider.
Yeah,
She
juices,
goes
wine, of course. All the
yeah,
classics.
is there like hard cider?
Yes, what there isn't though,
Okay.
except for a very brief moment, is actual hard liquor, like distilled alcohol. That's why the
Mhm.
Scotch was such a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah,
But it's
so
long gone.
Delilah
By the time you guys get around there, it's just the kids
By the
playing
time I
with the
got around the
bottle.
corner, it was gone.
Yeah, the kids are in the
Delilah,
corner playing with the bottle and talking about old times. Yeah.
Playing spin the bottle.
Yeah.
Delilah grabs like at least 2 bottles of hard cider
Yeah.
to go with her food.
Oh yeah.
And she's just like sipping and eating and sipping and eating, and she hasn't drunk in a long time. And even when she did drink, it was at like Citadel functions.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's like discovering the wonders of hard cider.
Yeah.
Artemis is going to find like a group of the older ladies,
Yeah.
and she's going to pick their brains about this pottery.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. And
that's where drunk Artemis goes. Tell me about your pots.
Artemis, it's like walking into a room full of chefs and asking about their recipes.
Mm-hmm.
They're all telling you at the same time what they mix in to get this color, how this one's too thicker, that one that they make is too thick around the neck, and we figured that out generations ago. But
this one uses manure.
That most of them would actually, to keep them from exploding when they're fired.
Yeah.
But yes, there is a it's the underlying thing is it's very intentional. Mm-hmm. There is outrageous levels of pride in the pieces, especially the pieces that you would take to a function, like a public function. The home stuff might be chipped a little. You would never show up to one of these shindigs, and they happen on harvest.
This is the shit from the china cabinet.
Yeah, this is the stuff that comes out, but it's all it is every bit as identifiable to the people in this valley as like a coat of arms would be to somebody from medieval times.
Yeah, Artemis never gets. It's been a minute since she's had a lot to drink, but she never gets too drunk to be talking about this. She just might get a little bit more quick to ask more questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you do that if you're sitting there at a table full of the older ladies, and they know how to drink. You drink very nice alcohol very slowly, and you savor it. Mm-hmm. It's not many beers. That's so
PBR!
a pot of arms.
Well, and she purposefully picked a group of the older ladies because she knew they could talk about it for eons.
Given to outdo each other, they're giving you the secrets, right? I mean, they're
she listens with like actual like interest in it.
Well, that's the thing is they
not just like sure.
It's a mix of the young generation is interested and I've got to show up Dolores.
Yes. And yes,
Dolores.
there's you hear a lot of, and my kids don't want to learn this, and my daughter's stuff looks like shit, and she doesn't even get the color right. There's a lot of that, right? They're very, very proud of it, but of course, because every parent ever is not really proud of the way that their kids are carrying on the family traditions, but it's because the kids don't give a shit, right? But yeah. So that's again, it's that, and what you discover also is that community of older ladies. This is like every traditional community, they've got that group, right? If any one of them was split off from that group, they'd be a fucking witch. But together, they're okay. They're the grannies, right? So yeah.
Does anyone in this group like play music?
I was waiting as dinner finishes. Somebody fires up a fiddle. I was going to say a violin, but it's not
banjo.
It's not
the
that
jug
shit.
Band.
Yeah, exactly. It's homey folks having a bash, something that they can dance to, because right away the young kids and the drunk people are starting to boogie in the firelight. And this is, I mean, this is like a
Somebody's flipped a bucket over and is using it as
yeah,
a drum.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But this is like
If there's
it's a bush party for adults, right? I mean, there's the huge bonfire. Everybody's had a little bit too much. A couple people have had way too much, but there's singing and dancing and flirting and all the stuff that happens at these gatherings all around the place. What
I
there,
think Delilah oh,
I
sorry.
was just gonna say, what there isn't is any stress.
I think Delilah didn't realize how sort of low her alcohol tolerance was
Mm-hmm.
because she never got a chance to test it.
Yes.
So she's just like, "Oh, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it." And then suddenly
Yeah.
she's like, "I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it a lot." um,
And a couple
So I
seconds
think-
after that, one of the 3 or 4 of the young ladies that you saw earlier out by the bath come running up to you and said, "Oh, it's the girls' dance. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go!" And they start trying to pull you out onto the dance floor, and you see all the women, every female over the age of about 14 is heading for the area around the fire as the fiddle starts playing a different song. It's still a very dancey, bouncy jig, this little jig,
oh yeah,
but it's everybody's like, "Oh, it's the ladies' dance, the ladies' dance."
Delilah absolutely joins in, and if ever she gets close to Artemis,
Yeah.
she will grab Artemis and be like, "Come on!"
Yeah, I was gonna
Come
say,
on, come
Artemis.
on!
You see it. You see the swirl start. It's like watching the tornado start. You see the women start to come in and they start to swirl and they just sort of suck more of them in, and it's an event
waves
horizon
begin.
time, right?
Well,
But
of course, she's sitting with all the older ladies,
Yes.
so of course they're gonna push her to do it.
yes, the older ladies, they start making their excuses, right? Oh no, my knees, and oh no, and not no. If I do it, I'll fall down. You go along, dear, and they're physically pushing you to go into the dance.
I can hear one of them saying, "You better come back with a husband."
Actually, and another one responds, "Oh no, that one's never going to get married." But and mean it in a good way, in a positive way. Like, doesn't need to. Yeah, it's like, no, that's a complete human being that doesn't need any help. Yes, but
Needs help in other ways, but not that
yes,
way.
not that way. Definitely doesn't need a partner to be complete. But with that, the night settles, the stars come out, the booze flows, the ladies' dance is followed by the men's dance. Sid, you are not asked, you are compelled by the threat of physical violence.
No, they threaten me by cutting me off.
Yeah,
That would be the
Yeah.
threat.
yeah, I'm not
At
doing
this-
it. Hey, where'd my beer go? And they're out on the dance floor going, ha ha ha. Yeah. Strange
If
enough that
Steve over there took your beer.
because here's the worst part, because it's men, it turns into a conga line. The women's one, like, they were weaving in and out and doing all kinds of like Mayday shit. The men end up in a Ouroboros circle. It's the conga line that never ends. It goes all the way around the fire, and you guys are just going la 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 la, hey, la 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 la, hey.
Probably the easiest dance for Sid to do right now.
Yeah. Except every time you go to the
Yeah.
left, your ribs just crunch, but you're drunk, so
La 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 la. Ow!
yeah. And many
Every-
drinks, many drinks, and much food. And as long as you mix those right, you can go all night. So well into the darkness, with the pressure coming off, like a successful submarine ride being over, and you actually come up at the end, like one of those, you kind of can't help it. The pressure comes off. So sometime around midnight, that mystical, magical moment in the middle of the night, not 12 p.m., but in the middle of the darkest dark, when you can see the Milky Way and the fire is burning down, and the people that were flirting are kind of buggering off into the darkness.
Mysteriously disappear.
Yes, and people are making their excuses and going home. You see one drunk woman push another drunk woman's pot off the table and break it. Oh dear! Oh my goodness!
Fist fight starts.
I hope that wasn't one of the important ones. That shit. They're not perfect people, but they're people.
They're normal people.
They're real people. Yeah,
They're petty, not psychopaths.
yeah. And the 3 of you are just, the party's kind of winding down and it's gotten quiet. The guy with the fiddle finishes off with a real quiet. The last song is violin, right? The rest of it's been fiddle. This one's the very traditional sort of um, what
Softly
yeah,
flowing.
not quite a lullaby, but there's kind of one step above that. I forget, a nocturne. That's it. That's what I
Yeah.
was looking for.
Ah,
A nocturne is played as the fire collapses in on itself, and on that last long note, where are you at?
um,
And I don't want to. I don't
Sid
want in a
has
haystack
joined.
with a stranger. But yeah.
Sid has joined Verite and the dogs.
Yep.
That's where you find him. He's, you know, cradling an empty bottle,
Yep.
curled up next to a sheepdog. Just part of that big
After you go
pile.
to sleep, somebody comes over with the original Scotch bottle and tucks it in like a teddy bear. Empty as fuck, but
Oh.
yeah, yeah. They give you
Yeah.
back your empty.
Just the notes.
Yeah,
enjoying the notes in
label.
my sleep.
Yeah. So you and the dogs and then the verite smelling of wet dogs and wet verite. What's the? Is there even a thought, or is it just a happy hum and off to sleep?
Kind of a happy hum and off to sleep.
I know what
He
I want
got
to ask.
completely lost in the sauce.
Yep.
Not just the alcohol itself, but the vibe.
Yeah.
In his head, the ghosts were everywhere and they were having a blast.
I was just gonna say the last thing you see before you pass out is your dad's ghost and having a drink,
And then he's out.
and he's out. Delilah, let's have you go next. I take it back. In the haystack with a stranger is a perfectly acceptable answer.
I think Delilah had enough food that she's not like plastered.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. This food, yes. Yeah.
She kind of refound a seat, not too close to the fire because it's big and hot.
It smells like warm Sid.
Just kind of like just far enough to be on the edge of like where one side is a little chilly and the other side is a little too warm.
Yep.
And
the event, or not the event horizon, the Grange point.
Yeah.
Warm and cold.
Just sit there and rotate. Yeah.
And she just kind of watches as everyone settles down, and she takes a second and gets up, and she goes to the car and grabs the notebook that she pulled out all of Elizabeth's notes from and carved her new initial onto. And she finds her spot on the range point
Yeah.
again, and maybe a little bit closer so she has a little more light.
Yeah.
And she just kind of starts to write about what happened tonight and the party and all that stuff.
Is that the first entry in that? Or the second? First. This is the first. You ripped everything out last time. Started tonight. I love it. Yeah. An aside, just because I find it funny, the writer Robert Anton Wilson suggested that if we ever put a space station at a Lagrange point, their theme song should obviously be "Home on Lagrange."
If they didn't, no one would go.
Yes. But before I ruin the mood even more, Artemis, the middle of the night, the fire collapses, the violin ends.
I think as things were there were still people partying, but kind of winding down. It was getting kind of darker in the night.
Yeah.
She buzzed. from alcohol,
Yeah.
would have went and grabbed some of um the paper that it has in her pack from the mansion that she'd grabbed. Um and she would have started, you know, she started with doodling some of the pottery,
Yep.
kind of just some of the designs and patterns, just simple things like that. And then
And
it slowly turned into
freakily, one of the old ladies shows up over your shoulder and suggests that you draw her family one too, maybe a little bit bigger and right here in the middle of the page.
and that slowly turns into kind of she starts just some different figure drawing that then becomes she's drawing Delilah dancing.
Yeah.
She's drawing Sid just sitting and talking with a bunch of other guys.
Yeah.
Verite with the dogs. Allegra when she inevitably joined back in.
Yeah.
Stefano passed out somewhere.
Mhm.
Just she draws the environment, the scene, because that's where she's comfortable,
Mhm.
and just leaning up against a stump or something,
Sure. Yeah.
just ends up probably falling asleep in that, honestly, against something with that in her lap.
Would any of the three of you use the words in a very temporary sense at peace for your characters as they are on that brink of going to sleep? I saw one nod.
Yeah, definitely. Full
Yeah.
belly. There's no
Yeah.
immediate danger.
Mhm.
Everyone's safe. Everyone's nearby.
So tonight, it's a sleep. You don't pass out. You don't crash. You don't, crumble to the pain and give in. Tonight, like normal fucking human beings, for just a moment, you had a good day and you're going to sleep with no immediate worries. And I think that's a logical place to drop the curtain on tonight. Not a card play in sight. Nothing but role play for almost 2 hours.
Sometimes you just have those sessions.
Yeah. I'm going to drop in a funny story that happened this week to me at a store just down the street here, because I go to the store quite often, and the teller was very friendly, and I said I'm off to stream a couple of weeks ago, and they said, "Oh, what your channel?" So I gave it to them, and they're just literally just yesterday got a coffee, and he says, "So when do you play the game?" And I said, all the time. He says, "Well, when I tuned in, you were talking about a game that you had played. I don't even know what game it was you had played." They were under the impression, it was really great for me because not everybody knows TTRPGs inside out, right? They were under what they saw when they watched us was a group of people that they thought had played a game like Baldur's Gate 3 and were now discussing what had happened. So
Yeah.
the dice rolling was very confusing, and we didn't do much of it. Apparently, big surprise. But yeah, that was it was really eye opening experience, because then how the hell do you explain no, that was the game? There was no, we were making it up. But anyway, I wanted to add that because it was a real eye opening experience for me. So thank you all for playing a real game with me that didn't involve any computers. And it wasn't just a regurgitation of something that happened that somebody else programmed. Because this is original storytelling at its best. I hardly talked tonight. It was awesome. I talked so little that I felt the need to interject jokes here and there, which means I don't feel like I'm talking very much. So yeah, I didn't do much talking tonight. So thank you all for that. That's a big success in my book. So thank you very much, Robin. Thank you very much, Chris, and thank you very much, Bison. All of you for a great night. Thank you to chat, everybody that was in there all night. Some of you are gone, but that's okay. It's late in the easterly bits, but thank you all, and thank you to everybody that watched on YouTube. If you watched it here on YouTube, please hit the buttons, all the buttons at the bottom. You know what they do. I don't have to tell you. What I really mean to say is thank you all, and if you would be so kind, until next time, please be nice to each other. Good night.
Bye.